Hello, BookTube. Sorry for the second video, but I just got back. I reached the end of my BookTube Brattle bounty, the end of the gift certificate that one of you called in anonymously to my beloved Brattle bookshop here in Boston, and I wanted to show you the books that round out how I used that. It's just a small stack, but I thought they might be of interest. First one is Richard Price's Clockers, which I think has turned out to be his greatest book. It's from 1992, I think, or 1995? 1992, and it's brilliant in not only its plot and conception, but also in its language. Just, I'm a big fan of his, but I don't think I've ever read anything by him better than this. So I was happy to find it in this nice big trade paperback when he was just a wee sprout. And then there's this thing. I am a sucker for this kind of book. This is The Country House Guide, and it's just what it says. It's a big, ornate guide in black and white and color to the country houses of England. Not just all the ones that are tourable, but also all the ones that are in private hands. It's ordinarily the examples of this that I have on my shelves over here in the room are much bigger. They're picture books. This is smaller and yet more complete. This is everything, and that's a thrill. And also, I've dipped into it a little, and the accompanying text for each house is refreshingly opinionated. I like that when they're not just a regurgitated Encyclopedia Britannica entry. And then the next one is this. It is the second volume in Ian Kershaw's 2-volume massive biography of Hitler. This came out in the year 2000, and I had both volumes. The first one is called Hubris, and then this one is Ascension. Nemesis. This is Nemesis, following in the ancient Greek theme. I had both in hardcover once upon a time. No idea where they ended up. But I am a little later on reviewing Ulrich Volker's new gigantic biography, also the first part of a gigantic 2-part biography of Hitler. And I wanted to have the greatest example in English that had been done prior to that. I recently at the Brattle found the first volume, and now I found the second one. So I, unfortunately, will be doing something close to 2,500 pages of reading about Hitler. I'm not sure there are enough Regency romances in the world to wash my palate clean after that. And then this one, I was very happy to find this. I had a hardcover of it, then I had a paperback of it, then they both disappeared. This is David Carradine, Aspects of Aristocracy. He is a wonderful, wonderful writer. Those of you who live in the UK might be familiar with him if you're of a certain age. I have his collection of long book reviews, and I have his great book, The Decline and Fall of the British Aristocracy. This is sort of an addendum to that. It's affectionate but very cutting portraits of modern-day aristocracy, and the volume that I had once upon a time that I heavily annotated and tore to pieces, I loved. So I was happy to find this again. It's just a perfect condition hardcover. It's always nice to find, I shop for a lot of cheap books when I go out and about, and because they're so cheap, I feel free to take chances and to indulge in whims and curiosities and whatnot. But it's always nice to find a book that is going in this room, that I know is going on these shelves. That's always nice. And the last one is one of those, but unfortunately it's a paperback. If I'd found a hardcover, I would have been slightly happier. I had the hardcover once upon a time. It's a familiar refrain on this channel, isn't it? It's this. It's Great Detectives. It's an anthology. This is a big trade paperback, which I guess once I reinforce it, it will hold up well enough, but I'll snap up the hardcover if I find it. This has some very well-chosen excerpts from all the greatest names in murder mysteries. What did we see here? Dorothy Sayers, G.K. Chesterton, Agatha Christie, Robert Van Gulik from his great Judge Dee mysteries. There's William Faulkner, slumming and in doing even that poorly. There's Dashiell Hammett, there's Raymond Chandler, there's Edmund Crispin, there's Ellery Queen, Rex Stout, P.D. James, Ed McBain. This is a really, really good anthology. I'm a big fan of murder mystery anthologies anyway. I'm not that big a fan of anthologies of one author. I think that murder mystery short stories, I tend to like a taste and then a different taste. So big anthologies like this are right up my alley. And this is one of my favorites. I loved it when I first read it, read everything in it, read it backwards and forwards, looked once upon a time for a way to review it. Now I think I'll review it on Steve Reads, my intergalactically famous book blog. But it's curious. It's called Great Detectives, and yet probably a third of the main characters of the stories in this book are not great detectives. They're either really poor detectives, or, for instance, in the case of the Agatha Christie story, not a detective at all, and do no detecting even by accident. The story just happens around them. So I'm not sure who chose the title, and I'm not 100% sure who chose the stories. The editor, David McCullough, I am not 100% sure that he did all the work. If so, then kudos to him, because this anthology is something that mainstream, big, popular anthologies of this kind almost never are. It's idiosyncratic, and that's very nice. That means it's unpredictable. And there you have it. That is my my Brattle haul to finish off my credit that one of you so generously called in. I thought I'd show you the end of it like I showed you the beginning of it. And I'll be back soon. Thank you, BookTube.